let's do this. This video will demonstrate how to try and make a reasonable cuppa if you are sad and lonely and have no kettle. Right. So one of the first things that you'll need to do... There we are. Right, so one of the first things you'll need to do if you want to make a good cuppa is you'll need a few things. You'll need a mug. Mine is horribly stained. You'll need some kind of kettle. I've got a stainless steel one here. Plugs into the wall. Works reasonably well. I am 120 volts at the wall here. So this isn't going to be very quick, but it will work, possibly. You'll also need a tea strainer of some sort. Now, here's where we get into the desperation part of things. You really should actually own and utilize a kettle. A teapot, rather. Then you can use the really advanced British tactic of milk before tea. However, because this is a video for sad, lonely engineers, we don't have these things. We have loose tea, right? This is a Psalm, which is, good enough, I suppose. It looks like that. It is tea-like in composition, which is okay. It will work, definitely. Put hair on your chest. That's what my parents used to always tell me, and now I'm like a Wookiee. But here's what it looks like in all of its tea glory. Right, so the other thing you may not need is a tripod. I really wish I had one, but right, there we are. No tripod. Well, actually, technically I do have a tripod, but it's over there. Actually, it's running cat cam, so it does have a use here. Right, first thing you do, 1 cup. It's a pretty big spoon, probably about that much. Looks good. Into the strainer, done. Second thing, wait for the water. Keep waiting for the water. Yeah, so this is where all of my friends in 230 or 240 volt AC land will really come out ahead. Yes, this making tea with 120 volts is not really the way to go. So, next thing you do is, rue the day that you bought 1 tripod rather than 2, and then try and make some kind of Fellini-esque upshot camera angle work. Right, water's done. So, water, tea strainer with tea, over and in. And as you pour the water through, what you'll notice is the tea, if I can grab my camera here, I'll go lefties now. Good. The tea will start to outgas. I believe this is all sort of carbon dioxide. Coffee does a very similar thing, and in the case of coffee, it is carbon dioxide, but as I've said, I'm not really quite sure of this with tea, but I believe that is the case. So, next thing you do, that happens to be a butterfly. Silicone cover. I've got a mustache one around here somewhere. You want to keep all that heat in. Now, One step I missed. This is for, if you have company or if you want to be really advanced. Preheat the cup. That's what I should have done. Now, if you have a kettle, a teapot, you always want to preheat the teapot. You want to pour your water from the kettle into the teapot, which isn't here. Add your leaves, cover the pot, let it steep. Actually, really what you want to do, add the boiling water to the kettle about halfway, put the lid on, swirl it round. If it's ceramic, I usually sort of hold it, up and do one of these motions, right, to get all the water into all the different ceramic components. Then you want to dump that water. I suppose if you're more ecologically friendly, you could put it into a reserve bin where, that's perfectly good water. It's just been boiled. And incidentally, unless things are really, really bad, you can use twice boiled water. If you have sort of heavy metals or precipitants in your water, if they're to the point where boiling water again will bring their level of toxicity, their level of their parts per million count up in your water enough for it to be lethal or make you sick, you have problems. So let's just say you can double boil water. It's fine. It's fine. And then you want to dump that water into either your device or down the drain or onto plants after letting it cool down. Then you really want to take your water from your kettle into the teapot, add your leaves or bags or whatever you're steeping, cover, steep. Now for this, again, we'll do the Fellini sort of up camera or sort of up shot here. Very artistic. Actually, it's an excuse for me to go over to the fridge and grab the milk. I don't quite have enough milk. Perfect. Brilliant. This is good. So, next thing you do is find your out of hands. Uncap your glorious tea. I usually like to... that can support itself. I usually like to, get a bit of the water out. And then you dump this down your drain. No, that's one thing you do not do. What you really do want to do, though, put it to drain. Then when the grounds are dry, you can toss it, you can compost it, you can put it into whatever sort of environmentally sound recycling system you have. Mine happens to be the bin, where it will get ultimately recycled and it will show up as mulch or dirt somewhere ultimately. So another thing you want to do is, you need really more milk than this. This is not enough milk. That's okay. We'll add it anyway, because we are living dangerously here. Yeah, that actually looks alright. Yeah, okay, good. And we have just a small splash left. That's it. So, good. Now you've got a cuppa you can be proud of. You have a cuppa, which is glorious. And if served in this kind of a container, you have a cuppa which will haunt you day after day after day with its stains and its... we'll say it's battle-scarred patina. That's what it is. It's not a dirty mug. It's a patinaed mug. It has character. That's what we're doing here. So, there's your cuppa. It's rather good. I'll see you next time. I'm off to go drink my tea. And the cat has not moved one bit. Right. Well, see you next time. Hopefully you've enjoyed this helpful tip for lonely engineers, how to make a cuppa. Next up, I think we may as well continue a theme, and we'll talk about making coffee. These are 4 elements of really the only system you need to make coffee. I have a drip brew machine over here. That was a dumpster find. No, I mean, it was bought in a very fancy upscale restaurant, restaurant supply shop. Yes, indeed, it is Mr. Coffee. It's ubiquitous. You can see I don't use that, though. This is what I use. Well, the hardware now is what I use. So there's a plunger device, a stainless steel screen. You can also use paper. That's your filter. Some kind of end cap, perforated end cap device, and a cylinder. So next time, we will make the Lonely Engineer's cup of coffee. It will be good, and we'll do it right. See you next time.